Hari Om. How to reconcile our worldly life with the practice of Maha Yoga. Even though the main thing or the purpose for which we have come to this world is to attain freedom from bondage, and for that we practice Maha Yoga, which is of the utmost important thing in our life. Yet we can also fulfill our worldly duties and the required worldly activities as part of our life in a particular situation, family, or a place. Whatever activity we may have to do as part of our worldly duties and situations, the work, etc., they are not against us in any way towards acquiring this knowledge of oneself with the practice of Maha Yoga. So the practice of Maha Yoga is not opposed to any of these worldly duties. So while being engaged with the practice of Maha Yoga, we can actively do our worldly duties and activities and engage in whatever is necessary towards fulfilling our worldly duties. So that way there is nothing wrong in being involved in the worldly activities. But with the practice of Maha Yoga, one will have that kind of deep insight and wisdom, the actual experience of being the non-doer of any of the actions which may be happening around. Seemingly we may be doing it, but in reality we will not have the sense of doership, so that even while remaining as aham or being in the presence of Bhagavan or the pure I, our body will engage in those activities, and we will remain as we are without the notion of being the doer of those actions, because it is only the ego which is the doer of actions, doer and experiencer of the actions. So to the extent we remain subsided as the ego, whereby the I thought would merge with the source, and being merged with the source of Bhagavan or the pure I, when we engage in the activities will go on well. We will be able to discharge our worldly duties normally, but yet we will not take ownership for those actions, and we will not feel that we are the doer of those actions as well. So the doership and experienship comes along with the ego, rising of the ego, and while being engaged in the activities as that ego. But when we remain engaged in the activities while being in the state of subsidence in the presence of Bhagavan or pure I, that subsidence of the ego in our source will make us to strongly have that sense of non-doership, being a non-doer of actions. This is the eternal truth, something we all should understand. So that way we can engage in all the required worldly activities while being in the practice of Maha Yoga, being merged in the pure I. Thereby there won't be any kind of issues in our worldly life. We can discharge our duties towards our family, society, etc. as it is required, and yet at the same time we will remain in the source, in the presence of Bhagavan all the time. So being in the presence of Bhagavan is not against discharging our worldly duties. So there is no need for us to forcibly or to renounce our activities by our own will, etc. If it is part of destiny, then whatever has to happen will happen. But let us not try to do something or do away with something else just because we like or don't like, because whatever is there, whatever has come to us by itself Normally, naturally, we will take it and then we can go ahead along with that. So this way we can discharge our worldly duties, but yet at the same time we can also remain in the presence of Bhagavan. They are not against each other. Only in the beginning one may have to devote some few minutes of time daily in the morning and evening time, night time, so that one will 5-10 minutes so that one can remain in the presence of Bhagavan. In due course of time, even these few minutes of time to be allocated is not really necessary, because one can be in the presence of Bhagavan while walking anywhere, or while being in a shop, or being in a busy market, even in between main activities while working in the office or job. So there will be a lot of moments wherein one can remain and experience consciously that being in the presence of Bhagavan. So it is extremely within our reach, very much within our reach, to engage with the practice, to remain in the presence of Bhagavan, and yet at the same time to discharge our worldly activities or duties. So this is the truth. We need not get involved in unwanted things, unwanted activities, because our focus is to remain in the presence of Bhagavan, Atmanishta. So whatever is necessary, we can fulfill those activities. How would we know what is necessary activities for us? Because we can know that by our interest being drawn to those activities. To the extent we are interested, to the extent we feel strongly that we should do certain things, we will naturally end up doing those activities. But the point here is that while getting engaged in any of the activities, let us not forget and wander away from the presence of Bhagavan, which is our goal and something which can always give us immense happiness. So being in the presence of Bhagavan, let us do whatever we have to do, so that we can discharge our worldly duties as it is, and yet at the same time we are also remaining in the presence of Bhagavan, which is the ultimate happiness, joy and truth, the eternal life. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva.